friends, and family. Yes, Wednesday. Back to the Slaughterhouse Project. Gonna be working with Pete today. The electrician's gonna be on site today. That should be pretty cool. I think we're gonna be finishing up all the window openings. I don't know. Getting ready for our window delivery, which is happening next Monday. So that'll be exciting to finally close the place in. On my final stretch until the family gets home, I've got Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. They'll be back at the end of Saturday, another 4 days. I'm still alive. Thanks for coming with me. See you in the car. Oh, no, I'll see you in the truck. Started a pillow company
in the U.S.
Don't worry about that blowing open anymore.
Nope.
I know it's Wednesday, but it sure felt like a Monday today. Kind of dragged on and on and on and on. I didn't get a whole lot of video today. I mean, I was doing work, but it just wasn't inspiring for video, I guess. I don't know what to say. Heading home, though. That's inspiring.
100 local properties with you.
Yeah, baby.
Welcome home. This is the official How Curry Makes His Omelette segment of today's show. There have been some requests about my recipes and how I'm cooking, so I figured this would be a great place to start. I've been eating a lot of omelets because I have a lot of duck eggs. Just found one of the secret nests today, so I think I'm up to speed. All right, my theory of omelet and cooking in general is to have all of your ingredients completely ready so that when you start the actual cooking part of things, there's no pauses or delays that may disrupt the flow of the recipe. Because recipe is, cooking is like a chemical reaction. You need to have all the ingredients. You need to know your procedure and do it right. So this omelet today is going to have broccoli from the garden, Swiss chard from the garden. I'm gonna go out in the playhouse and get one of my fresh onions. We'll have a little bit of onion in there, and some feta cheese, some Swiss cheese, and some hard, dry salami. There'll be some other like flavorings in there to go. So to start, now you can put whatever you want in your omelet. Are there ingredients which may be difficult to bite into when you're eating an omelet? Because you want an omelet to be a relatively soft and juicy affair, right? You know, you want to be able to cut bites and have it stick together. So I always, whatever ingredients I'm looking at, I think, okay, is there anything I need to cook ahead to soften it up a little bit, to you know, essentially pre-cook it so that when it goes as an ingredient into the omelet, it doesn't need to cook, because the only cooking that really happens in an omelet is the cooking of the egg and the melting of the cheese. Everything else should be basically omelet ready to go. Swiss chard, rinsed and steamed. Broccoli needs to be steamed as well. Broccoli takes a little bit longer to steam than the Swiss chard, so I'll put the broccoli in first, and then I'll put the Swiss chard in, and I'll have those ingredients steamed and ready. And as they're steaming, I'll prepare some of the other ingredients. Saving these, some people use them in cooking. I haven't really found a use that I like a whole lot. The ducks love these, so I mince them up, put them in some water, and it's just like, oh. The next thing to keep in mind with your ingredients for the omelet is they need to be cut up into small pieces. At least I prefer that, because when you go to cut a little bite-sized piece of omelet, you don't want to have like the vegetable you're cutting through be connected into the rest of the omelet. You want to just be able to cut sort of easily. So the small particle size is really important. I do not prefer the chunky stems of broccoli. Some people will actually peel it. You can take and peel off, maybe I'll do a little bit of it, peel off the outer rough skin. Can you see that? And then that gets to what's called the heart of the broccoli. So if you want to take the time to get at the heart, go for it. I'm going to do that one, and that's it. Now I'm just going to do basic bite-sized pieces here. I'm a big fan of trying to separate the food as much as you can with your fingers and not cut it. Into the steamer. There's always a temptation to make more ingredients that can actually fit in the omelet, so be conservative. I don't know, you saw how much I was putting in there. That was like one medium-sized head of broccoli. Also love chopped up broccoli stems, so I save those. Crumbling the feta. Crumbled feta. The broccoli has been steaming now for probably 3 minutes, 4 minutes. I'm gonna add the Swiss chard now, because I steam broccoli for about 5 or 6 minutes. hard salami. Again, cut it up into small pieces. It's difficult to like cut with a fork a piece of salami or a chunk of sausage or a slab of bacon. Crumble break. Oh, the onion outside. I knew I was forgetting something. I don't need a lot of onions, so I'm just gonna go for this little baby one. Thinly slivered onion. Onion's one of those things you might like to cook ahead of time, just limply, you know, just enough to sort of caramelize it up maybe a little bit, but I don't mind a little raw onion, and it will get warmed and the juices will sort of run out of it and flavor the omelet. So it's up to you. Swiss cheese, that's European lacy cheese. So good. That's got to be close to done. Two large duck eggs, well beaten. Those aren't even very large duck eggs. Or if you're using chicken eggs, get jumbo eggs. You need 2 big eggs to make an omelet. I don't think you can make a 1-egg omelet. I've heard of them, but I don't believe it. The steamed goods are ready. I steamed the broccoli a little bit too long, or I put in the Swiss chard a little bit too late. The thing about steaming Swiss chard is, or any kind of green, is that it has so much water and moisture in it. So it's important to let it sort of cool down a little bit, or run it under cold water, because, you know, it's been submerged in water or it's been steaming in water. So what's the big deal? Just put it under some cold water, cool it down just a little bit so you can handle it. I just generally kind of spread it out to let it air out, and then squeeze it. You really need to squeeze the water out of it, or else your omelet is going to be very wet and juicy on the inside, and the cheese won't react properly. So it's important not to have too juicy of an omelet, which can get challenging when you have things like tomatoes, which are really good in omelets. You kind of need to drain your tomatoes a little bit. Remember all those leaves that I had? It's down to that ball, which is fine. I like to, again, chop this up nice and fine so it becomes part of an eating experience rather than nuggets of flavor. All this while I've been talking to you, and I've been forgetting to heat up my cast iron skillet. Generally what I do is I start prepping all my ingredients. I put the fry pan on the most low setting that I can get, and it just slowly warms the pan up, and then by the time I want to go to use it, it's done. This is going to take a few minutes to warm up now. I have all my ingredients ready. Next is putting it together. I've just remembered a technique that I've been doing the last few omelets that I really like, which is, instead of just, you know, slivering the onions, actually mince the onions up very small and mix it right in with your egg. That way, as the egg is cooking, the onion also gets a little bit of a chance to cook, so it's not just raw onion. And it works really well. But only if you mince it up, because if the particles are too big, it affects how the egg flows, and if the egg doesn't flow, then it's just so disappointing. And also in with this, I'm gonna put some herbs. You put in whatever you like. I'm gonna put in some oregano. Though, does oregano go with Swiss? No, I think I'm going to skip the oregano. Put in some crushed red pepper. At this point, if your ingredients are not salty, you might put a little bit of salt in here too. I have feta cheese, which is kind of salty, and the salami, which is kind of salty, so I think I got the salt covered. And I can always add more if it's not salty enough. You ready to cook? I'm ready to cook. I'm very hungry. I'm ready to cook. At this point, now that I've heated up the pan to temperature, I'm going to turn it back down to very low as it goes. I'm going to use safflower oil. I like cooking with safflower oil. It works very well with high heat. It's very difficult to burn. About a teaspoon, maybe two. 1 teaspoon, 2 teaspoons, that's enough. Make sure the entire bottom of your pan and the edges also have to get oily because you don't want that omelet to stick to the sides. That's also frustrating. Boom. Now this is ready for egg. Give it one last beating and dump it in. Now don't wait too long after you dump it in because it's starting to cook already. This is the way I do it. I just push the sides away gently and then tip towards the side you pushed away. And sometimes you can just sort of get it to move around, and as long as you're getting gaps at the edges that the uncooked egg can get into, that's the key. And you keep doing this until all the gooey ooey egg is solidified. Okay? Just like that. Now I'm gonna turn it off. Heat off. Boom. Everything is hot. Just evenly distribute the cheese over the top. Don't put it on just one half. The cheese is the glue of the omelet. The cheese is what makes the omelet stay folded in half. It's what bonds and binds all of the ingredients together inside the omelet. So it's important to have it over the whole top, and it's important to get it melted. Typically, if I were using block cheese, I would grate it up so that it would melt more quickly, but this lacy cheese is sort of thin and lacy, so it's kind of already there. Okay, this is good. This is good coverage. That's good coverage. That'll melt. Now I'm going to cover it and wait until it melts. Well, I know our omelet is not quite a success yet, but let's toast to its success, right? Okay, this is ready. This is ready. Now, I'm going to spread the ingredients over half of this omelet, and it's kind of important which half. I know I'm going to grab the pan like this, and I'm going to tip the pan and flip the omelet onto the side that's downhill. So you kind of have to plan a little bit. That looks good and melty. Keep it back from the edge. Let the edge catch things that want to push out. You don't need to populate the edge from the beginning. Okay, so this is just going on one half. Okay, ready for this now? This is the trick. All the ingredients are in. See that available cheese there? It's super sticky. So when I flop this over, that cheese is going to stick to those ingredients and hold them in place, and I'm going to tamp them down, and then I'm just going to let that set there for a couple minutes, and that cheese will just ooze down into all of those ingredients. It will bind everything together, and oh man, I'm already starving. Okay, this last bit can sometimes be tricky too. Great, your omelet is ready, but it's in a deep pan. And how with one spatula do you get it out without it all falling apart? Get your spatula under and then tilt your pan right up so that the omelet stays flat. Don't try to move the omelet. Move the pan out of the way of the omelet. That's the best way to think of it. Oh, look at that. Bueno appetito.